The intro is always the most awkward part, Robin, for us. So we're always fighting who's doing it. Maybe it's also good to know that sometimes, when you are explaining something or whatever, and there's can be a small pause of us reacting to you. That's not because we fell asleep, but because we sometimes are looking at each other who's gonna jump in.
Oh, okay.
Because we want to give each other space, but we also have questions ourselves. So we're always like, okay, who's next?
Classic, I see. Okay.
Classic eye fighting.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Let's get right into it then. Welcome everybody to another episode of the European Herpetoculture Podcast. Joining us today is Robin. Welcome, Robin.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Hi. For sure. It's really cool that you're with us. And I say us because also Flo is here.
Hola.
Yeah, the great and powerful Flo, as Tony Hinchcliffe would say. And my name is Stefan. And today we are doing another episode. And we invited you, Robin, because you seem like a cool guy, but also because you have a very nice selection of animals. You have some experience with the hobby on the other side of the pond in your own way. So we thought you were the perfect fit for this episode. And before we get into the topics we wanted to discuss, maybe it's cool for the listener to get a short introduction into you. And also for us, it's pretty cool to know like how you got started in this hobby and how did you end up where you are now?
All right. Yeah, sure. So, right now I'm realizing how old I am, but so it's been some years. So I'm Robin. I'm 30 years old now, and I'm living in a small city. I can't really pronounce the name in English, so let's say it's near Hanover, between Hanover and Bielefeld. Yeah, small city. I've been born here and raised here, and then we got a house here. So pretty boring. Into reptiles. I got as a kid strolling around in the forests, and so we have a small castle here in our city. It's on a big hill, and it appeared that this castle had some lizards running around, and that's where it all started. I don't know. I was like 9 or 10. And we followed the lizards, caught some, which isn't really perfect, but and that's when the fun began. Some years later, I got my first bearded lizard. Yeah, bearded lizard. Then some pythons, some ball pythons, a boa. Yeah, and then it went crazy from there.
That's great. I feel it's so cool that like everybody has like the same story in the beginning. That's so cool. That's what connects us all. And also, for me it was also like the smaller sorters and stuff like that, catching. Did you also like? Yeah, I think it's many years ago. Did you also keep them at home a little bit? Or a friend of yours keeping it?
That's it. My friend, yeah. He was a crazy guy.
Yeah. I feel like it's so it's okay that the animals are protected, but on the other hand, it's like that's what's like the energy is starting to really go. I feel like there has to be like a way for children to interact with wildlife, because if we raise some tadpoles or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so too. And those were the kind of moments that got me started and that got me interested in the whole topic. And nowadays you wouldn't do it anymore, but that was the starting point.
Yeah, crazy.
I love it.
And it's really cool. And maybe how was were your parents like supportive of it, or were they like, Robin, don't know if we want like reptiles at home, snakes?
So they weren't heavily excited about it, but I'm when I want stuff, I can be pretty hardy, and yeah, they were supportive. Yeah, yeah, they weren't happy, but yeah, they allowed me, one-birded lizards and then another snake, and yeah, then it went crazy
Yeah.
with crickets running around in the house, hiding behind the cooler, all the stories that you guys probably know as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Small escape here and there.
And then the chirping everywhere.
Yeah. So how did you get from like finding the lizards into learning that you could actually keep them? Like, how did you get your information at that age?
Yeah, at that age, so to be honest, it was a bit try and error. But I was very young at that age. But a bit later, I read up on things. I got me some books because the internet wasn't really. So it was there, but those known forums, they hadn't really started, or I didn't know them at this point. So yeah, I read up on some books, and then I found one old guy here in my city who had his whole flat covered in enclosures, and that was my dream. And yeah, I visited him for quite some time, and he showed me around, and yeah. So retrospectively, I would say I don't know if he really was the best to learn from, but yeah, he got me started.
There's always this one guy, this crazy hobbyist that you walk into a room there's not even a TV anymore,
It was insane. It was insane. Yeah. But I learned some stuff from him, and then with age, I found some forums, like the German DGHT forum or the snake forum, Schlangengrube. Yeah, I think that's what it was called. And yeah, then I've read up on every topic, and yeah, I probably should have used the time in school, but yeah, that was a bit more interesting for me.
Yeah,
totally get it.
Sense. Yeah, for me the same.
School was the necessary evil, and there you had a computer, so you could do what you look for the info you thought was interesting.
Right. Yeah. And back then we only had a family computer because computers weren't that common yet. And yeah, I spent so many hours on that.
Yeah.
But
were you like the only weird guy in the school that had reptiles, or did you have some friends who also had reptiles?
So I had some friends that they joined me on the trips, and yeah, we searched for them together. But yeah, I stick to it, and went a bit crazy about it. So yeah, kind of the only guy. Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever experience because when I was on Project Herpetoculture, they told me they had always a hard time as a kid because they were getting bullied for that. But to be honest, I never experienced that. All the kids in the school were always like, "Oh, okay, cool. Can I see it?" Never get bullied. Have you experienced with that?
Oh no! So in the school, right? No. People were pretty cool about it, and I thought, "Wow, he has a snake. Wow, that's cool." And yeah, so that was pretty good. So one time I bring my snake. I think it was a ball python to school with two mice, and thought it's a great idea to feed the snake in the school. It was like I asked the teacher beforehand, and it was all okay. But then the biology teacher came in, and he saw, well, you can't feed them with live mice. So yeah, that was a bit crazy. But yeah, the pupils really loved it.
So you did it. It was too late for the mice.
Not in the school, but yeah. But that's many years ago now, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's also a thing that young kids do bullshit with it, and that's just also a way to learn. I think you can't really blame kids for doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that's nicely said. I think so as well. You can't blame the kids. They have to experiment, and that's how they, that's how they learn, basically.
Mm.
So yeah, can't really blame them.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember when I had snakes, and there were always people who wanted to see them eat until they
Yeah.
saw them eat.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, but until they saw them eat, then they were like, oh, it's
Yeah,
interesting, but there's also an animal dying, and what's going on,
yeah,
all these
yeah.
conflicting feelings. And you were there like,
Yeah.
look, blah, blah.
Yeah. And they look at you like, oh no, that was the last time I'm coming over to you, my friend.
You freak.
Yeah, you
But
freak.
that's true. Yeah, always the people only wanted to see them eat. I don't know why, but yeah, crazy.
So
Yeah.
your collection is a bit different now.
Mm-hmm.
So when did that shift turn? You had the bearded dragon for a while, the ball pythons. You still have the reticulated pythons now, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how did that evolve into what you're doing now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So even as a teenager, I stick to it, and I really loved it. And I got myself into the large constrictors like reticulated pythons and the Burmese. And I tried to keep the collection small, and that worked out pretty good when I was a teenager, because there was other things that were interesting as well. But then, yeah, with the years, the collection grew quite a lot. And then there was one time I moved, and yeah, had some private stuff going on. And then I said, well, I have to get rid of reptiles. I couldn't keep them in the new flat anymore. And I always hated those kind of guys that, not hated, but everyone knows them and says, well, yeah, I'm moving, or blah, blah, blah. I have to get rid of all of them. I was always like, well, that's animals. They live for like 30, 40 years in some cases. How can you just get rid of them? And it really hit me hard, but I had to. And then, yeah, I had a pause of like 2 years, and I always missed them, and I always was kind of into it. And yeah, then came the time when I started again, also with reticulated pythons. I was into the dwarf ones, the smaller localities, and then also into the Bokshy, the dwarf Burmese pythons. I've read them, which was pretty cool. And yeah, then with 18, of course, I got into venomous, and yeah, I always saw those posts on the forum Schlangengrube, where they showed their Epheris, the bush vipers, and I was always so invested in them, and I loved them for their scales and their dragon-like appearance. And then, yeah, I think it was with 18, I got my first one. And yeah, then it was the time where it really started. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yeah.
In what way was it kind of crazy? Just that you got so into it, or the amount of animals at one time? What made it crazy?
So I wouldn't consider myself like an animal hoarder. I had or I have many, but I always try to house them correctly, and each individually in a nice enclosure. So, but I had a ton of them, and well, still have. And yeah, I was very invested in the bush vipers, and I got one, then I got another one, then I got 10 more. And what really got me going was breeding them, and seeing. So they are polymorph, which means you can breed a green to a red one, and then there may be some black babies or some purple babies or whatever, right? So that was very interesting for me, because I wasn't a morph guy like this ball python morph breeders. I respect it, but I wasn't really into it. I was more like into the locations, and yeah, with bush vipers, you can sort of have it both. You know, they just have this huge variety of colors, and yeah, I got some from you, right?
Also, yeah.
Yeah, I really love them, and yeah, so that's what's got me started. Yeah, it's crazy because I still love them, and I had some other snakes here and there over the past years, and I still have a few others. But so if I had to decide, I would always stick to the bush vipers. I still love them, and I'll probably forever. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's great. Did you like when you get started into venomous snakes, did you have like somebody that like teach you how to handle them, or was you like, I can do it myself and do it like trial and error type way?
So it wasn't a personal hubris I had. So I didn't think, well, that's nothing, I can handle it. But on the other hand, I also didn't have a mentor. No. I read up on them, and I trained with non-venomous snakes. The Crocodile, for example, they were feisty because they were farm bred, and they just love to take you all the time. And yeah, I didn't have a mentor, and I tried to train myself. Yeah.
Yeah. But do you
But that's
think
not
it's
what I would recommend in this
okay?
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for sure, it's always the best way to have a personal mentor, and that's what I saw with a lot of American guys out there. They really do that because they also have to get in a certain amount of training hours before they get the license. And I really like that. So yeah. I mean,
for
back
sure.
in my state, North Rhine-Westphalia, we didn't have any regulations at all. So, you know, you turn 18 and you can just buy yourself a mamba. That's it. Now it's completely forbidden. I am excluded from that because I have opened up a small company, and it's just forbidden for private people. But yeah, I would love some kind of a middle way, and yeah, they didn't do it. They just forbid it.
Okay, yeah, that was also a question I was gonna ask, because I feel like when people want to keep venomous snakes, or like they should do it, but like put work into it. And I think when you have like to put work and maybe also money into it, you can really exclude a lot of people that go to harm and say, oh, there's a Crocodiles for 50 euros.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah,
And
and that's the problem, you know. People that want to keep them, they do it anyway. So so now they forbid it, and you know, it's forbidden, but the same the same things happen still happen. So like, oh, there's a venomous snake being found, and well, so people do it anyways. So I'm not a huge fan. Let's say I really dislike the current that they forbid it, and I really would have loved some kind of middle way, like in Switzerland or in the States.
Yeah, for sure. Same. It's always like not great when you like forbid stuff, because then the black market is also blooming, and yeah, there's a lot of bad ways.
Right.
And also like with the mentor stuff, I feel also like I don't keep venomous snakes, but I feel like it also depends a lot on the mentor, because maybe you get someone in your area who's like not doing a great job and you learn from him. That's maybe not that great for you, and maybe it's even better to start yourself and be like, okay, I feel a little more comfortable with that. Because one time I was visiting someone, I never handled venomous snakes, and he was like, he wanted to give me like a spitting cobra to handle, and I was like, dude, no, I'm like, I never handled a venomous snake in my life, so I don't think that's a great start. And I was like, because I had a time where I was really into venomous stuff and thought about it, but I didn't know someone who had them, and I only knew this guy, and this it really turned me off, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a huge point. Yeah, I mean, there's many people around that keep venomous, but yeah, there's also many around that probably shouldn't keep venomous. So
Yeah.
I think also the problem is if you start at that age, the age we are now and with what we know, it's easy for us to filter out what the info we can use and what we see, and just use a little bit of logical thinking when we can be, okay, that's something I can use and maybe not.
Yeah.
But if you're young and 18 and you see this guy with this cobra or whatever, that's yeah. I had two then friends in the neighborhood who also kept venomous snakes, and I had venomous snakes for a year, and he gave me two big Nigricollis. They were like 2.5 meters, and I never really handled cobras, and those were my first cobras. 50 euros for the pair.
That's crazy.
So but that's it's a problem that it's an animal that eventually, it's especially the Ateris scomigira that you have, if there's a bite, it can be quite serious. All bites can be really serious, but that's not one that's on top of my list if I had to.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's a tough one. I really like some sort of a middle way, that you have to prove your knowledge and your experience, and that would be good. But I mean, that on the other hand means much more work for the authorities, and that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's easier just to ban it.
Yeah.
Maybe for the people listening, that's Noord-Rijn-Westfalen, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And there were some incidents, including a cobra escaping, and after that they were like, "We're not doing this anymore."
Yeah, and it was quite a huge topic in the media, and I think internationally even. So the politics were quite fast on this one, and they just forbid it. But even after that, incidents happened, and I mean, those kind of prove that it's not working very well.
Yeah. Maybe even worse than before.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What species do you have on venomous snakes at the moment? Or in general, maybe for the listeners, it's interesting what you keep for a snake.
So I had way more species before. I told her before, but I really try to focus on the Epheris because they're just what I love. So right now I keep the Epheris, Squamigira. I don't know how many exactly, but probably around 50, I guess. Okay. And then I have one Vipera ammodytes.
Classic.
I don't know the English, the horned viper or something like that. And then I have still have the group of mambas, which are quite insane. Yeah, as you probably know, Stefan.
Yeah. I believe you have one or two that are young from a female. That's so fun. That's so cool, man, to see how
it is, right? Yeah, and I saw it was a blue female, right? A huge blue female that you had, right? And I have 3, and so they are they are from this exact female.
Okay.
I think I saw in your video, or I don't know, maybe you told me as well. She was crazy, right?
Yeah, the blue one was really I want to say skittish and reactive.
Yeah.
The other one was just, typical mamba.
Yeah.
But the blue one was definitely
Yeah, and I can totally see that in my 3 individuals. They are, so I have to be honest, they are really not fun at all to handle. No. And I keep it to the bare minimum. I guess, or I bet there's some professionals out there that will say, well, you just handle them incorrectly or whatever, but they really are quite bad, And I like I said, I always try to keep it at a minimum with them, and Yeah, so I focus on the Epheris and that's it basically on the snake species. I had way more other stuff before, but I really focused on them. And then for quite some time now, I work together with an American friend in Florida, and I sent him shipments here and there. And then I get to keep the animals that I sent to him for quite some time. I have a big room in the basement with a quarantine setup, and so that's pretty cool because then I can keep other species that I really like. I can keep them for some time, and then I always think, well, let's stick to Epheris. So it's cool, and you can like the Mangshans, for example. I had them for some time; they're really cool. But I'm quite happy with the Epheris now.
No, that's impossible. But it's really cool. But then it's almost. It sounds like the Ateris. You already said they look a little bit with the dragon scales and polymorphic. But then if you see, because I've seen some of the interesting snakes that went via you. There were some really cool species in between there. So it's really interesting that the Ateris for you just work. And that's also awesome that you found that species.
I think so as well. But I would speak for the whole genus of Epheris. So I just like all of them, like the Nietzsche, the Ceratophora, and the other ones that that you can't get here into the collections. But the whole genus of Epheris is really what I love, and I would love to go there, not into the Congo, wouldn't be that safe, I guess, but to go to Tanzania someday and go herping on some Ceratophora or Rungvensis, for example. I would really love to do that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I remember there was a time that quite a few Ateris species were imported.
Oh yeah.
But especially since COVID, that seems to be voorbij. Seems to be done.
Yeah. Right. There it is, the new German word.
The main reason was the import ban in Tanzania. So they banned the exports from Tanzania, and Tanzania has some very cool species like the Ceratophora, Matildae, Rungvensis, and it's probably better for them, to be honest, and not even probably, but it's definitely better for them because like Ceratophora, for example, it's a highland viper, and they don't do very well in captivity. And with that, I mean, they were imported in the hundreds, if not thousands, some years ago. And what do we have now? I personally know maybe 5 to 10 animals still left. So some like 1 year ago, one guy got in an import of Ceratophora. Not via Tanzania. He found a special route, I guess. I don't know. And so this import contained like 20, 30 Ceratophora. And I got one of them, one female. And all the males from this import died like a few weeks after the import. And even the females, there's just a handful left. So that's what I wanted to say. It's probably better for them to just let them there.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of, obviously they don't have the best of time until they come here, but I feel like a lot of people also treat them the same as Trimeresurus, and that's
So that's what kills them right away. The whole genus of Epheris, they just can't stand high humidity combined with high heat. So that's what people usually do, like keep them, like you said, as some Asian pit vipers. No, they won't do that. So they just die right away. And the Ceratophora, yeah, as I said, they are highland vipers, and they need colder temperatures. I mean, in the day hours, they do need some warm hours to bask and to get their temperature in. But then they have to get some pretty cold temperatures at night. And like for Nietzsche, for example, they were found at elevations where they had little snow on the like 2 meters away. So like really, really cold. So yeah, it's quite hard to replicate that.
Yeah.
And with sorry if I'm talking about that way too long, but
no. This is
perfect.
great.
Yeah.
But with Ceratophora, for example, there's like 2 or 3 people that have successfully reproduced them in captivity. With that, I don't mean they got in some gravid imports, but they really reproduced them successfully. And that was, so this one guy, that was a bit crazy when I found it out. He just lives like 30 minutes away from me. He kept them in his basement. He had a huge enclosure, and he kept 10 individuals from them in this one enclosure. And it was in the coldest room in his basement. He had the windows open all the time, and so at daytime he just had a basking spot on them so they can get the temperature in, and then at night it cooled down to 5 degrees.
Wow.
That was
so big
great.
Contrast between day and night. Yeah.
I mean, that's really when winter hits hard, but so usually it's, he cooled them down to 10, 12 degrees. But that's quite crazy, isn't it? Because especially the Ceratophora, they are very small, especially the males. So when they are big, adults, they don't really eat larger food prey items than a pinky or largest small fuzzy or hopper mice. I don't know what the English name is.
Yeah, fuzzy is
very small. So it's quite crazy that they can cope with all that,
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Do you know how the Ceratophora looks, Flo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, sorry, it's some
No.
some very niche-y talks here, but yeah, that's just what I love about the Furus. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want, the niche talks.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Flo.
No.
I just wondered if there was like if the imports weren't as bad, or if you could try and you had whatever. Was there like one alternative species you would love to try if you had the chance?
Yeah, that's definitely Rungwensis. I don't know if you know Rungwensis, but you can or to all the viewers, you can just type it into Google and you will see, wow, that's a very nice species. But also they are highland vipers. So they've been found. You can look it up on, I think it's called iNaturalist, right?
Yeah.
The site for herpers, and you find some pictures. And but yeah, that's not one single individual ever being shipped to Europe or to other states before. But yeah, that's a species I would love to have one day. But I'm also feeling quite bad talking about it in this way because, morally speaking, it's it's a tough topic,
Yeah.
Because I mean they're doing perfectly fine out there, and they're just being grabbed from the branches just because some random guy in Europe decides that he wants to spend some money on them, and then realistically speaking, they're being grabbed from the trees to basically die after some time. With the squams, for example, they usually do pretty good, but with all the highland stuff, also from South America, they usually don't do very well. So it's quite bad to talk about it but I think you get what I mean, right?
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
what
for
you mean,
sure.
but I think I think we all have some species that we will really enjoy, but if we're thinking about how selfish it will be, we also decide on not to do
Selfish
it.
is a right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the perfect word to describe it. Yeah.
yeah.
On the other hand, though, just because of that, people got in some threatened species before, and they build up perfectly. They do very well in captivity, and I'll come back to this topic later when we talk about the crocodilians. But like the name insurance colonies is really a thing. What I believe and what's important. So I really love to see some threatened species. And are doing perfectly well in captivity, that are being reproduced consistently. And, so if something bad happens in the environment, you still have these types of insurance colonies all over the reptile community. So
Yeah.
that's like the stuff zoos do. But the private keepers are being a big part of that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's why I also like the citizen conservation stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I wish they had like yeah, it's hard for them, but I wish they had like a little bit more variety of animals. They have no reptiles at the moment. I think turtles, right?
Yeah, they started with the first turtles. It
They have
started with
no.
fish and amphibians, and now they have
Yeah.
the Cycloornata because there are quite a lot of them extra. I want to say they do quite well. So it's a success story basically.
Okay.
You know,
That's good.
there's same almost with the Komodo in European zoos. There's
Yeah, yeah.
you
I mean,
know
that was quite a big success story with the Prague Zoo.
yeah.
It's funny because like 2 weeks ago, I rode with the keeper from the zoo, and he told me about the whole project, and he told me that they reproduced around 80 to 90 animals over the past years,
That's
which is
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, yeah.
And they ship them all over the world into some big zoos, and they do perfectly well out there. So that's really a good story. But also the Shinisaurus,
Yeah.
that I think that's also quite a good story for conservation, especially for private keepers. They do quite well.
Yeah, for sure. But what I always feel like it's also a little bit difficult topic because if the environment isn't like there anymore, it doesn't worth it to it's like not doesn't worth it, but it's like hard that you have insurance colonies, but without habitat that you can maybe release them one day. I think that was also
Yeah.
what people outside of this hobby or in general, people don't realize. They always say, "Ah, zoos are bad, private keeping is bad," but it's like, yeah, okay, but we have at least we have insurance colonies, but we also need to be like aware that we have to save some environment. I would
Oh
love
yeah,
to see
they
something
do.
like collection of people like snake breeders, don't know, collect the money from their offspring and buying some land or stuff like that. Maybe get the hobby more interacted with like the that we are getting more connected with like uh, reforestation and stuff like that, and not just
Yeah.
oh we are like the bad people that have animals at home, because I think we
Yeah.
do like valuable stuff in for the world, but I think we can also do much better.
Yeah, we definitely could. Yeah, that's a strong point because usually people, when they see that you keep snakes or crocodilians in your home, they're always like, well, what a douche, always like, oh well, he has such a big ego. They don't really understand the situation about it. And as you said, with the climate change, water levels rise, and so like water areas that were separated from each other, they cross. That's a huge problem for all kinds of animals out there. And for example, the Cuban crocodile.
Yeah.
That's like a very big thing happened to them. Habitat loss, hybridization with the acutus, with the American crocodile. So you have to have some insurance colonies out there all over the world, because the habitat isn't really there anymore. So where should they have them?
Yeah, for real. But I think we also have to be like careful with like or some people in this hobby, or in general, a lot of people oftentimes say really quickly, yeah, I'm doing that for conservation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like maybe 1% of the whole hobby does something for conservation. It
Yeah.
also makes you feel better to say something like that to people, because
Yeah.
like, but yeah, it's tough, because with the Anialoides, for example, I only have like, they are not threatened in the wild, and I only have like one pair, and there's like also 5 other people that keeping them, and that's not conservation. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I can't exclude myself from that as well. I mean, I totally love keeping crocodilians. And
yeah,
so these two things doesn't really harmonize that well with each other, but I still believe in insurance colonies,
yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to build up. But on the other hand, of course, I love them, and yeah, yeah, it's a tough one.
And that's also okay, I think, to just
yeah,
enjoy them
for sure.
as
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, right, but
yeah.
yeah,
And wouldn't it
yeah,
be great for you to flow if you have the Enialoides, and even though they're not
yeah,
endangered or
yeah,
whatever, you have
of
fun, you
course.
have a great enclosure,
yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
will breed more, and a lot of people will enjoy them. That's
yeah, for
awesome.
sure. And I mean, what we do is like, oh, we're looking into the habitat, we are
Yeah.
getting the news from Ecuador, and
hmm
maybe people that don't are in this hobby don't get maybe the, oh, what's going on at the moment there, and
yeah,
what's the
Yeah.
habitat loss. What I think, what a lot of people can and could do, what I do, for example, is like um, donate money like monthly, or maybe what I thought, when I have like offspring of the Anialoides, maybe if when I sell babies, half of the income I will uh, give to some sort of,
yeah,
yeah, but it's
great
also a
approach.
difficult where to where to put your money, because some are like scammers. You have to find the right one, and it's also not that easy. But I think that's like the easiest way to say we are
Yeah.
doing something for
Yeah,
conservation, when you just give a little bit of the offspring money back to the, yeah, conservation.
right, yeah. I guess that's helping them the most, probably. Yeah,
It is the
Yeah,
easiest, at least,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think, for a keeper.
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
that's true. Yeah, but you already did talk about a little bit about your other animals
yeah,
that you keep at home, and I think that's like the most unusual ones. I think not a
yeah.
lot of people have them at home. Maybe just tell us what you are keeping at home.
Yeah. So I was always into crocodiles since I was a kid, watching Steve Irwin and Crocodile Dundee. It's yeah, I always loved crocodilians, and I was always into them. But on the other hand, I always tried to be a bit slow on that approach, because you just can't go out as a, I don't know, 15-year-old and buy yourself a caiman, raise it up into your bathtub. I mean, it happens, it still happens, but that's not what I wanted to do. So it was hard for me, because I'm very impatient, unfortunately. But yeah, I waited until so my wife and I, until we searched for a house. So we wanted to buy a house, and there was the moment. Oh, well, now you can. So
Yeah.
yeah, I read up on yeah, some books, and I did so the past years before that as well, and I knew exactly what I wanted to go for. And yeah, then I met up with Alexander Meurer. He's the head of the German Crocodilian Association,
Mm.
and I talked to him a lot. And yeah, then someday I got 3 caimans from him,
Hmm.
and yeah, I obviously have them. I still have them, and yeah, that was like such a new and cool thing, because up until then I only had snakes, and snake husbandry is it's pretty okay. But now the whole water part came into it, and that made it so exciting. But also, you're into the hobby for so many years, but you can still learn a whole lot more. and it was so cool. And it's still, because the whole water topic, I was never a water guy. As we talked before about your aquarium in the back, I always loved it, but I was never into it. So yeah, that was very interesting. So then I got the caimans, I raised them. And then I don't know, 1 or 2 years later, yeah, I was thinking about getting another species. And then one crocodile popped up. It was quite bizarre when you think about it, because it's a Philippine crocodile, and you just can't get them. Basically, it's like impossible to get a Philippine crocodile. I can get into the detail, because the Philippine government decided one day, I think it was 2008 or something, that the species is so threatened that from there on they didn't send out any more Philippine crocodiles. And they did it this way, that all Philippine crocodiles, they go into other institutions like zoos. I mean, they obviously didn't ship to private persons anyway. So that all animals that go out to institutions are still belonging to the Philippines. So zoos that, like Denmark, for example, that got Philippines, they don't really own them. They just keep them. And when they breed them, they get the offspring and send them back to the Philippines, which is quite cool when you think about it. And people say there's around 150 individuals left in the wild. Some say it's less. And I mean, that's quite crazy, isn't it, when you think about it? So it was even more crazy to see a Philippine popping up. And I got it, and it was very small. And actually, it's a perfectly legal animal. It came with the CITES documents, and that was because the zoo that bred them, they imported the Philippine crocodiles 1 year before the new regulations. So they got it in 2007. So that's why they bred them, and they were issued the correct CITES documents. They don't get them anymore, because now the zoo government, they say, well, no, we can't do that anymore, but they did. So yeah, this one female came into the market, and I got it, and I'm very happy about it. And since then, I'm trying all my best to get a counterpart, which is, as I described, it's like literally impossible. But I'm still trying. Yeah. And I'm also trying to get a counterpart on loan, just to be able to breed her one day. Yeah, I'm trying. But also it's it's a very tough species to deal with. Philippine crocodiles are the smallest real crocodile out there. So females usually grow up to 150 centimeters, maybe 200, which is kind of small, right? And males get a bit bigger, but they are very small crocodiles, but they are very, very aggressive. And you can't keep them together. You have to keep them strictly separate, because they are also aggressive to each other. So when you want to keep them together, they basically kill each other. So it's not really the kind of species you would want to keep, but I love her. I just love her for a character. She's crazy.
I've seen some videos, and I was like, man, there's something wrong with that animal. But I can understand that it's such a extraordinary individual that you're like, man,
she's crazy. And the funny thing is, people always ask me, well, when does she calm down? So like, I mean, she gained quite some weight now. She's around 100, 120 centimeters. So she grew quite good. And people always ask me, like my mother, for example, well, when does she calm down, by the way? The funny thing is, they don't. They just don't. I visited the parents multiple times, and the male is so it's an extraordinary animal. He's very big for the species. He's around 2.50 meters, even a bit bigger than that. So we stood right before the enclosure, and it's also like a huge glass front, and the male was swimming in the water right before us, right in front of us, and then just in this one moment when we talked to each other, like we kind of got our back to the male, he just jumped the window. But I mean, an animal with the size of 2.50 meters, they just don't calm down. They are all around crazy. But they are quite some characters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I really got into the whole idea of conservation with the Philippines. But it's just like impossible pretty much to get a counterpart. But I'm still trying.
But I can imagine if you hear that there's only 150 left in the wild and there's such, then it's one female can have quite an impact. You know, like you have one clutch and you have 10% more.
Yeah, right. So the Cologne Zoo, they have quite a success story with them. They bred them multiple times, and they also sent the babies to the Philippines. And I really love that. Yeah. And I hope to that I can be a part of that conservation one day as well. But you guys know the challenges between zoos and private. It's I would like that we work together a bit better, but it's always quite hard. I'm not private anymore. I'm like how to call it in English, like a professional type of institution. But still, as long as you're not an accredited zoo, it's very tough.
Especially if it's an EASA zoo, and there's so many regulations. That's quite impossible, really.
For some species, you can be a part of the ESB program. And now they, I don't know, for a year or so, they, I think, I'm not very sure, but I think they allowed private persons to be a part of that as well for certain species. I'm not 100% sure though, but I think I read something like that, which is a good step, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So then I got her, and I was really into crocodiles, and so I had the 3 caimans and Lailani, the Philippine. I had them all in our small apartments, and then after like 2 years of search, we found our house, which is just perfect for this. And we couldn't just buy any house because the house, of course, has to have a huge basement for obvious reasons, and so that wasn't really easy, but we found the perfect one, and that's why I was able to build some large enclosures, and that's what this it was during COVID, so everything shut down. My employee, oh man, Florian, it's called Kurzarbeit. Shortage work. I don't know.
I think shortage was,
So during COVID, basically companies in Germany, they could say, well, we don't really have work anymore. So you guys are on like paid leave. And that was like for a year or something. So that was quite tough. But during this time, I was like, whoa, okay, I have much time on my hands. And I was like, well, that will be the perfect time to build the crocodile enclosure. Yeah, and that's what I did. So I started doing it. And right in this process, so I was always on the search for Cuban crocodiles. And so that was always my favorite species, actually. And I was on the search. And then one possibility came up. And so there was a male Cuban. And so with crocodilians, you can't just throw them together and hope that everything works out. You have to be really cautious about this. So you can just put them together in a new enclosure. So like when you would put a male into an enclosure and then put a female inside, like 2 weeks after, it won't work because it's now the territory of the male. So every time you have to put them like on the exact same time. Not for every species. Some do quite well, but humans don't, and Philippines obviously don't do as well. So the possibility came up to obtain this male Cuban, and it's from a genetically tested pure line, which was very good for me because I was really into getting a pure one to attempt some real breeding purposes. But then I was like, well, now I have to find a female, and it's ridiculous, but I did find a female which was like exactly the same size, and it's also genetically tested to be pure. So both sent samples to I think it was Texas University. They also had to get CITES for the samples as well, so it's a huge process. Yeah, because it's a part of the animal, so it's also protected. Quite crazy. It's a huge mess, but they got it tested in Texas, and it's pure Cuban crocodiles. And so maybe just an explanation. The Cubans, they suffer from habitat loss due to American crocodiles coming over, because American crocodiles usually, I mean, you can find them all over South America, also Florida. We saw them there as well, and they then came down to Cuba as well, and they bred with each other. So there's habitat loss, but also loss of the genetical pool, and now you can find many hybrids out there. Also in some zoos, when you look at the pictures, sometimes you see the bump on the snout, which is typical for American crocodiles. I don't want to call any names, but you
look for the bump. It's the message.
But you can see it quite obviously, and so that's why I really was after getting pure animals, and I got them, and so they are even non-related, which is actually perfect.
Wow.
So you can pair them up, and so you have the possibility to establish a new proven pure line of Cuban crocodiles, and that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. So I built the enclosure. It was quite fast because I had some time on my hands, and then I drove, I don't know, 2,000 kilometers. I got the male, and then on the way back on the same trip I got the female, and then so with my wife together we came home, got them in. It's, when you think about it, it's quite crazy that all those things worked out. Like how, but it did somehow, and I'm very happy about it. And so I also installed a camera in this enclosure to I still observe them like multiple times a day, but especially in the beginning I was watching them like 24/7, and I could see, well, some snappings, and they were biting each other, not really hard, but they were trying to say, well, what are you doing here? Get out. But then after some weeks, you could see them swimming around together, basking together, and now they're doing very well, fortunately. And some time ago, I have some videos on my smartphone. As I said, I always watch the recordings, and I even saw some breeding attempts,
Wow.
which is very cool. That doesn't mean a lot because they are still too small. But so crocodiles, especially young males, do that after some years, and that usually means that they are harmonizing quite well together. And so, yeah, I'm very, very happy about that. They're living in there for I think it's 2 years now, 2.5 years. Yeah, they grew a lot, and yeah, I'm still super happy.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's super crazy, super badass as well. Not to forget about that, it's like that's like winning in the lottery to have all these things working out perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't know why it really was crazy and kind of unbelievable, but did work out for some reason. Yeah. Like I said, I'm really happy about it, and so I'm looking at them every day, and yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. Just yesterday, when I scrolled through your Instagram, I was watching the whole story again with how you built this stuff. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's already 2 years ago, and maybe for the listeners, you can, if they don't know you, maybe say how you built it and how big it is, because
you
definitely don't keep them in a bathtub.
No. So I also have a photo series on my Facebook, and also on my Instagram. You can check it out. But I basically built it up from scratch, and I put many hours into reading up on it. And because, as I said, I had the time, and that's always my problem. I'm always interested into the wrong things, and when I'm interested, I'm like hugely invested and read everything about it. But so I'm like I'm not working with my hands. I'm working right now as I'm sitting here on my PC, and I'm like left-handed, but I kind of read up onto everything and built it up myself. So I had this room in my basement. I put up cinder blocks, with iron. So I attached it into the ground and filled it up with concrete. Built the land parts, the land sections also with concrete. I also wanted to have them under-swimmable, so that you can use it's the most efficient way to use all the space, so they can swim under the land sections, which is also beneficial for them because they have some hiding and also some visual barriers, which is very important for crocodiles. And I built that. I don't know how, to be honest, but it kind of worked out. And I see myself sitting there. I think it was 2.8 tons of concrete. Of course, I was quite dumb. I didn't just call them and said, well, please deliver me the concrete and let's just fill it in. No, I got it in bags, in concrete bags, and I swirled it up myself, and I don't know, it was crazy. My wife thought, well, what are you doing here? But I did that, and then I used some type of mesh, some very fine mesh, and built up some, the background, like some rocks and this whole rocky back wall. I saw that people do it like that in zoos, like they build zoo enclosures like that. So I tried to modulate the wires, and then I got a structure. and then I mixed up some type of concrete, and with my hands, I modulate the background. Yeah, and it worked out quite well. When I look on Instagram, there's some huge, I think Florian as well, like they built some crazy enclosures that look absolutely fantastic. It's not like that, but it's on this scale, it's quite hard to bring in that many plants and that many details to the background. But I really like how it works.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And also, like yesterday when I watched it, I was like, damn, are you doing because like this was the first time you did something like this, right? Yeah. That's crazy because it turned out really good.
Especially for a crocodilian enclosure.
Yeah. And you always have like a struggle, man. If I'm doing this like not good enough, there will be water everywhere.
That's a huge point, and I was afraid of that as well. So many hours of thinking went into that, to see and to think about how can you seal the water part that it's like 100% waterproof, because I hate that. There's around 6,500 liters of water in there. If that leaks, I don't know what to do. So I really like the cinder blocks. I use very large ones, so that the wall can't just collapse or everything. So that will withstand basically everything. And then for the water sealing, I thought about some alternatives, like putting up a foil into the enclosure. Some people do it, but as you can imagine, with crocodilians, a foil doesn't seem to be the best idea. Like they can scratch it or whatever. Then there's like some liquid kind of foils, like liquid plastic, or I don't know.
Like liquid pond liner or something.
Yeah, liquid pond liner, right.
Yeah.
So you can do that as well, but it doesn't happen to be 100%. And you can do some crazy mistakes, and then it leaks. And sometimes just after some months, and I would hate that. So the best option for me was to get myself glass fiber and epoxy. And I watched many tutorials, I read up many tutorials, and so there was one very, very good tutorial. I can link that as well. And so they were showing the process, how they do that to ponds, to huge ponds or pools. Pools is a better word. And so it's 3 layers of glass fiber, and every layer is glued on with epoxy. So you have 3 layers of that, and then you put on 2 layers of top coat. So that's like the scratch proof, And the problem is, though, when you do that, you have to do it in one step, in one go, because if it hardens up, I think after 24 hours, you have to what's the name?
Mix?
Sorry?
Mix up, or
now you have to scratch up the whole surface again, then put out acetol on it, so that the new layer can bond with it. And it's a huge mess. So you really want to have it all in one go. And that was crazy. So the enclosure size, it's not that big, but it's around 10 square meters, and the water area is 0.8 meters. It's not that big, but I did it alone, and I started in the morning at 8 o'clock, and I finished 24 o'clock in one go, and it was crazy, and I'll probably never do it again, but it worked out. Fun fact, after 1 week, I couldn't walk anymore because my knees swollen up. I had to go to the hospital. They said, well, yeah, when you knee for that many hours, like some problems can occur. And yeah, I felt that.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but it's so like when you fill up the water, you really think, wow, you have some tension built up. But yeah, it worked out. It's 100%. It's around 3 millimeters of of the sealant, and yeah, it worked quite well. I had to put up another 2 extra top coats, and I got some color in it, so it's a light gray top coat. Yeah, it worked good. Then I have how to say, like on the bottom, the water gets sucked, and
the drainage.
Yeah, the water drainage, and yeah, that's attached to my filtration system. I have it in another room because that's also one rule I have with crocodilian enclosures. I never have any electronical parts in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I also try to have none in the enclosure itself because crocodilians sometimes go crazy, and some people have the pump, the drainage pump in the water area, but crocodilians can and will go crazy and bite on it, and yeah. So I have everything outside in another room, and yeah, that worked out quite well.
Awesome.
In the end, you always have, in the end, you always have some things that you would do better next time, but yeah, I think you will always have that, right?
Yeah, I think that feeling never goes away. I think that's just a part that we have to live with.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's how it goes. The Cubans can stay in there for probably another year, maybe 2, and yeah, then they will move into a bigger enclosure, and then I'll probably use this enclosure for my free caimans.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
In the meanwhile, I got another Cuban female, which I kept a bit secret, but yeah, she's in a grow out tank. She's a bit smaller, around 1 meter, also 1.20 m maybe. Yeah, so I really hope to. So the plan is to build a greenhouse in the back of our garden, and this greenhouse shall house all the crocodilian species.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah. I believe
amazing.
Cubans are also. I don't know if you've seen, but I went to the crocodile zoo in Denmark, and they had like at least 4 generations of Cubans, because they're all F1. So he can't really do something with, but outside, all of them outside in like big groups. I was like, whoa,
that's
I had no
crazy.
idea.
Yeah, and I think you were there where it was, not really summer, right? It wasn't
no.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. I think it was the end of last year, somewhere.
Wasn't it September, October or something?
Yeah, something like that. It was an okay day, but it definitely rained the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So
I was
amazed.
Saw it, I was also like, whoa, okay. But they seem to be perfectly fine there. And that's also a funny thing with crocodilians, as you mentioned. So if you have a large enclosure and you put in 10 or 20 of them, they do perfectly well with each other. But if you just put in 2, then there's some problems involved, because the one guy thinks, well, no, this is my territory now, and yeah. But with many of them, they usually accept the situation, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, what I really like how you keep the crocodilians, because like when I think about like people that have crocodilians, I maybe I'm not in the bubble, but like the ones who are on Instagram, I know maybe 1 or 2, at least here in Germany, that keeps them okay.
Yeah.
But like it's super professional, and also like that's what Till was so excited you are hopping on the podcast. He was like, man, I'm so curious how he's gonna do it when they are bigger. And now we have the answer. So are you planning it like the greenhouse that you have like a walkway and the crocodiles are more like down so they
Exactly
can feed
like
from
this, yeah.
upstairs? Okay. Like
Yeah.
is he called like Kyle, right? Crocodile Kyle is just
Yeah.
Kyle. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right.
saw his videos like when he started, and I was like, damn, that greenhouse is crazy. Now the new place is even like more insane. You've been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Maybe you can also talk about this, but
Yeah.
how big do you think your greenhouse is gonna be?
Yeah, it's funny that you mention it because this guy really gave me the most impressions. And just as you said it, that's a plan to have the whole greenhouse. Basically, it's one big pool. You know, it's the whole size, and then you have separate water areas because you really have to think of visual barriers and so like the Philippine, she would go crazy when she would see other crocodiles. So it's one big water area which is separated, and then I'm planning to have a walkway like in the middle, and then that you can see into every enclosure. And right now I'm planning it to be 15 times 6 or times 7 meters. So yeah, I don't know, 100 square meters or something.
Yeah,
roughly about that size. Yeah. And then this shall house the Cubans, the Philippine, and so yeah, the best thing probably for the Caymans would be to go into that as well, because the climate in the greenhouse, it's just the best you can get. In the basement enclosure, it's perfectly fine, but so I mean in the greenhouse they can get a bit of natural sunlight, and so the warmth is really building up. It's very humid, and yeah, maybe I'll put them in there as well. Let's see.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
that's awesome. When do you want to build this thing? There's like that's also like building a house. It feels like.
Yeah. I'll probably do much of it on my own, but speaking of such dimensions, you just can't. You know, you can do stuff up to a certain point, like the slab, the concrete slab. How do you do that on your own? That's like not possible. Also, the problem is our property is on a slope. So first you have to get some dirt out, and with some, I mean much, and then they have to build the concrete slab. But then after that, I would step in and probably do much on my own. I mean, that's my plan at least. And I hope to start next year. But as you said, it's quite big, and you have to think of many things. Like also this one needs to have a separate heater, like a heating system, and that's also not really easy. And yeah, it's just so many questions to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
I know a turtle and tortoise keeper who has a greenhouse that's 350 cubic meters.
Okay.
And there's like palm trees like fully grown in that. It's also really high.
Yeah.
But he built something like you're explaining, concrete liner. He actually dug it out a bit, so he got more height. For you, that's of course going to be water. I have to say, when you said like 15 by 6 or 7 meters, I was like, is that big enough? But I'm looking at my house now, and it's smaller. So
that's a funny thing. So when you build a house slab is usually around 12 by 10 or 12 by 12. So I also thought, well, 15 times 7, is it big enough? But it certainly is.
It's huge.
Crazy,
this is 10 by 3. That's crazy. That's awesome. That's practically
big.
a house.
I really hope it all works out, because to be honest, it's a whole lot of money as well. Whole lot of, it's like basically you're building it just for the pleasure of the animals, for your own pleasure. It's like you don't get any financial return from it, obviously.
Yeah.
So you have to build it in a very efficient way. And with the current politics, gas prices gone up, and it's
It's hard.
it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But when you have something like this, especially when you have your own property, man, that's the dream, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, it is my dream as well. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned, you saw the videos from Kyle. I did so as well. And honestly, I watched some videos, especially the one about the greenhouse. I watched it like 6-7 times because
Yeah,
I
same.
just love it. It's just my dream. And so when I was there now, it's just awesome. And I mean, that's some other dimensions, but like having this in a smaller frame, as you said, the climate in that, all the plants that are growing, it's a dream, right?
I mean, you could basically like put in there mangoes, passion fruit, and harvest your own tropical fruit in the crocodile greenhouse.
Right.
Man, I think that nobody in Germany can say that. Or maybe even in Europe.
Yeah, I would love that. And I'm aiming for next year to start on construction, but it's there's also some bureaucracy involved, as you may know. Especially in Germany, it's not that easy. And it's probably easy or a bit easier to name it a greenhouse rather than name it a crocodile greenhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's some ways probably.
Yeah. There's like a height limit, right, for greenhouses also. You can't build it like 6 meters or do you know what's like the limit on how big you...
So there's one limit that says, so when you're under this limit, you can build it without getting a permit or not a license, but a proper permit for it. After that, you have to get a permit, Bauantrag, like it all has to be approved and all that. And I don't know if there's a limit then, but there probably is. Yeah, I mean we're in Germany, so
yeah, for sure. Do you think there is like a loophole when you dig the concrete slab like down into the earth? And
I thought about that as well.
Yeah,
I think there is.
Yeah,
because they measure from the soil.
From the ground.
Yeah. So I think there is.
And it's also better because like the temperature stays more.
I really want to use that effect to dig out as much earth as possible, which is quite hard because due to the slope, I have to dig up very much earth anyway. But I really want to go a bit deeper into the earth because that really helps with the greenhouse effect. Because you have warmer temperatures after a certain depth. So I really like that.
Just yesterday, I watched some pretty interesting videos of people in the US like having greenhouses dug into the ground where they can like grow tropical fruit the whole year. And that's also a cool way because when you type in greenhouse, you can't find like cool solution. But when you go in the tropical fruit growing niche, then you will find a lot of cool videos.
Yeah, but there's so much to think about. Also, I would love to provide them with natural UV sunlight, but that's not really working well together with having low energy costs or to be efficient on energy. That's not really working together that well. So there's some plastic sheets. They're built for turtle housings, I think. They let through a certain percentage of UV sunlight, which is awesome. And they are quite thick, but I mean, that's still like this. And greenhouse with this size, when you want to heat it, I don't think that's enough width to have it sustainable or efficient. So
do you know the koi greenhouses that they use to house kois in winter?
Yeah, I saw some of that as well.
Those are like double walled.
Yeah, that's one approach. And I have a friend that built it on on a smaller scale, he also used double sheets.
Okay.
With some air even between it.
Yeah.
And that seems to work quite well. But the problem on the other hand is those sheets are very expensive, and then you have to get double the amount of them.
Yeah.
So I looked up on it, and for the whole size, it was like 9,000 euros, but just for one layer. But then you have to get another one. And then you have to think about humidity building up between the layers and all that. And then it gets blind and the sunlight doesn't get through anymore. And there's so many problems involved in this. I found out that there is a producer that produces glass right for greenhouses, but for professional greenhouses, it's real glass. It's quite thick, and it lets through also a certain amount of UV, which would be perfect because that's very efficient. So you would have like glass like on the roof, and it's very, it's perfectly transparent. You can see through it. It will be perfect. But yeah, I haven't got an offer from them yet, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to see the price on that.
That's a huge project, but that's also, I think, pretty good that you're, talking about this because it's a huge commitment.
Yeah,
it's very different than an Alteris.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. And that's what I meant with getting crazy at the beginning. People always ask me, what's going on? Like, did you go crazy? But I don't know. I just love them, and I'd love to provide them with the best care possible. And if it's somehow in the range of possibilities, I'll do it.
Yeah, but I think that's the right approach to this hobby as well. Like, especially with like big animals like crocodilians. I mean, you have to have like a mindset like you, because I don't think there's a lot of people that buy a crocodilian from Zoozayak or stuff like that have this in mind.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, it's a huge commitment, and it's not the wisest idea looking at the financial side, most definitely. But I don't know, it's just, you only have this one life, and I just want to do it. So let's do it.
Yeah, and the other thing is also like the crocodilians will probably be older than you at some point.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
You have like one time a big amount of cost, and then you have it like for your whole life. So if you think about it each day, like a small, maybe 5 euros every day for the rest of your life. That's like always
very well spent, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I can.
Oh yeah. So
for only a cup of coffee a month, you can.
Yeah. That's how we calculate, right?
Yeah. But I feel like that's super cool that you're doing it like this
thank
way.
you.
Yeah, for real.
I also have to thank my wife that she's into it as well. That's I don't know. She's crazy as well, I guess, because I don't think there's many women that would do that as well. It's really cool.
I can imagine it's quite an impact.
Oh yeah, it is.
On just your day-to-day.
Yeah. I have to be honest though, I don't have any lizards or exotic mammals or stuff like that, because I'm always very happy with the husbandry of snakes and also of larger crocodilians, because if you build it in a proper way, you can really you can really reduce the amount of husbandry you have. Example, the filtration system, I maxed it out pretty much, so it's a huge filter for the relatively small amount of water. But so that gives me some time. I don't have to clean it up like every other week, so that's pretty good. And also with the electronic, I mainly do it that it's outside of the enclosure. And with the snakes, I mean, you know it as well. That works pretty good. So yeah, that's always what hindered me about getting into lizards. That you just have to feed them every other day, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the care of the snakes and crocodiles. But of course they do need a lot of care as well. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a different manner, I think. I remember that with my turtles now, I have like 1 or 2 full days of work, or at least, a midday or whatever. But it's not like every day the water ball, every day every day the insect. Oh, they died. Oh, I need to go to the
Yeah, and that's what I thought as well. I didn't want to go absolutely crazy in this. And I mean, when you want to go on vacation and all that, like with the venomous snakes, I don't want anyone to deal with them. It's just me, because I'm responsible for them, and I would never want anyone else doing stuff in their enclosures. So yeah, I'm always trying to keep it at a somehow reasonable sphere,
Yeah, for sure. That's true. That's also pretty smart and all that.
But then still, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I saw that the male Cuban just jumped the UV light, and he ripped it all apart and threw it into the water. Like, still things like that happen, And the cool thing with crocodilians, so I have to go into the enclosure sometimes, and you can really, I mean, they will attack you, that's for sure, but you can get them away from you with a large stick or broom or something like that. That works when you get them into the water, and they can hide under the land sections and all that. You can work with that. But if you have to go into the water, that's where the fun begins. So you can't just use the stick, and I mean, they are faster than you. That's for sure. And what I also saw with the Cubans, and I saw that with another guy as well. He kept 3 together. They are so intelligent, so intelligent. They do remind me of those dinosaurs. They really, of those raptors. So they really, like in the Jurassic World movie, they really work together as a team. So when we went in the water section into his enclosure, he always dealt with 2 Cubans in front of him with a large stick, and then very silently the third one wandered around him and then approached him from the back. So they somehow work together, and it was insane. Like they hunt together, and the other ones, he played with them, and then the third one came from the back. And that's what I see with mine as well. They reached a certain size now, so it's very dangerous. You don't want to get bitten. And so he ripped the lamp down, and that's where the fun begins, actually.
Yeah, that's true. It's also maybe a moment, that you realize, okay, they can do some damage with the
good reminder.
Yeah.
That's for
they
sure.
can jump, so it was quite high, because I use 150 watts UV light bright sun, but the zoo variant.
Okay.
And the zoo variant gives you some more room, some more height, So I could really place them high up in the air. I really wanted that because I thought about this situation as well, that they could just grab it because it's like reflective or whatever, but he did it anyway. So yeah, it happens.
That's crazy. And that's insane to think about.
Yeah.
But like with your trip to the US, we always ask the questions between the difference between European and the US. Is there any or not? I feel like in your case, it's like pretty interesting because at least for me, I feel like in the US, of course, the crocodilians are easier to keep them because they are outside and stuff like that. Than like with lizards. I think there's more of a difference. In that case, I feel like almost the US is on this side a little a little better. Yeah, maybe just tell us about your trip and what you learned, and maybe what's your opinion? Is there a difference or not? Or...
Yeah, there certainly is. Yeah. So I'm working together with the guys from Primitive Predators for quite some time now. So like I said before, I sometimes send them shipments of snakes usually. And so we're working together for quite some time. And so I've been to Florida 2 times before, and I just love it because as an animal guy, you have to go to Florida because you see everything. I mean, they have gators outside. How cool is that? You know, and that's just awesome, and it's like my dream place to be. I would go there next week again if I could. I just love it. The whole climate, you know, it's basically a greenhouse, a huge greenhouse where you're living in. It's insane. And so this time, yeah, we visited the guys, Ryan and Kyle. They gave us a great welcome there and showed us around, and it was the best thing ever. Because, like I said before, I watched the videos many times before, and they didn't publish any new videos in the past time, which I always found a bit sad because I always watched them. But then I could see the facility now, and man, they didn't stop on working on it. It's insane. It's insane. It's got a whole sanctuary attached to it now for rescue gators, or rescue Niles or salties. It's so cool to see how much effort went into it. Not everyone can do it, obviously, because there's tons of money that got into this before. But yeah, they could afford it, and yeah, it was awesome to see it. Yeah, and as you said, in Florida, basically, so simple said, you can just dig out a hole. Florida is like a huge beach, so you can dig out a hole. It will fill itself with water, and then you have a pond. That's it. In the most times they even filter itself because it's all sand, and due to the water coming up constantly, it kind of filters itself. They always have a well though that pushes in constant water, and so that's very important for the cold days as well. They do get some colder days there, and then they just run the well constantly. And it's so there's warm water flowing inside constantly, and that's how they do it. They just put up big fences, dig out a big hole, and Florida environment, Florida climate, everything grows super cool. All the plants come in, and yeah, it's just awesome, right? Yeah. And then all the facilities, all the private persons have to build a perimeter fence. I think it has to be at least 3 meters high. That's for the Class 1 permit, which also includes tigers and lions and all the crap. I mean, Floridians? No.
Floridians?
Yeah. People that live in Florida.
Yeah.
They have some crazy people out there. There's many people that keep tigers and all that. They're crazy. So they have to put up a huge perimeter fence, and then obviously all the enclosure fencing. But it's pretty simple. Yeah. I mean, we have to heat. We have to give in the light and all that. They just have the Florida sun. It works out perfectly.
Is there anything you've taken away from your trip to those guys? Because when they did post videos, I was just amazed by the constant improvement of Kyle. Yeah. He was just relentless almost in everything he did. Did you take away some things for your own care, or maybe saw some animals or what he did that you were like, okay, I need to take that with me.
Yeah, that's crocodilians. So it's essential for the care of crocodilians that they have visual barriers, and he really got into that one. So as you see in the newest enclosure designs, he put in so much thought and efforts. He's doing it, by the way, like on a full-time basis. He does work. He puts in all his time and effort, and I really love it. I love the dedication he put into it, and there's so much I bring back home from that. Also, the greenhouse, the impressions from that. Yeah, it's just awesome. And to be honest, sometimes I think, well, what are you doing here in Germany? Because just living the dream out there.
There was a question I also had, like, did that cross your mind? Like,
yeah, it did. And really, when you're out there, you really start thinking about, well, you could really live your dream out there. But I mean, it comes with some negatives as well, right? I mean, on the political side as well, it's different. But speaking of the animal side, it's just awesome. Yeah,
for sure. Is Kyle, is it like a private facility, or is it private?
Yeah, he started from a private facility, and it's still private, but so it's a professional facility. I'm very sure they will get accredited as well. And they're always thinking about opening it up to the public, but they don't really need to. Okay. And so if you don't need to do it, I personally wouldn't do it as well, because, I'm very passionate about it. You guys are as well. But so when you open up your facility to other people, I always think, well, the visitors, they of course aren't as passionate as you are. And especially with zoos, you see people throwing stuff into the enclosures, which is, especially for crocodiles, it's very dangerous, because they just run up and grab it and eat it, That's a huge risk. Yeah. And then all the safety aspects and, I don't know. I wouldn't do it as well. I mean, if I could afford it, they can. So, they're keeping it private. That's awesome. Which is awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And when you see the dimensions of everything, right? So the big enclosures, he had a single Cuban female in it, and the enclosure was like converted 24 by 14 meters. It's insane. It's insane. That's so cool.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's double the size, or maybe even triple the size of the greenhouse plants, Yeah. Same. And then he put in different ponds, also with shallow areas, with visual barriers. It's so cool.
Yeah. Had you like a point where you thought like, man, is that even correct that I'm keeping mine like this?
Yeah. To be honest, I did. Yeah, and I thought about that as well. And yeah, what should I say? I mean, it's not the natural environment. They don't get natural sun right now. And Germany just isn't the place where they belong to, And that's the part where the personal ego comes in again. And of course, you want to keep all of the cool stuff. And I'm doing it, but you also have to reflect that this is probably not the best for them. Yeah. I'm doing my best, and they're doing a good life, and they also get UV light and all of that. But I do think out there under the natural sunlight with the climate, you can't beat it. Yeah. Definitely, yeah,
for sure. Yeah. But in the end of the day, I think the whole hobby, reptiles, fish, it's all at the end of the day, it's all also an ego thing that we are doing it is, right? You can't really
go
around.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's okay.
Animals, and they don't want that. I mean, they are living a good life, and they don't have any predators and all that. It's perfectly fine. But yeah, they don't really belong here. So
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, at
that's
the end
quite
of the
a
day,
yeah.
yeah,
It's quite
it's difficult, right? So
sorry.
it's difficult. I really
Yeah,
sometimes struggle with that.
yeah, me
Um,
too. Yeah, it's tough.
but
I don't know.
but when I think about it, without the animals, I don't even know like what I would do.
Yeah, I couldn't do it as well. I don't know.
The,
I couldn't do it. It's
yeah, that's crazy. Like at the moment, because I'm moving end of August to Copenhagen, I
oh
brought
cool.
I brought my Enyaludis to Till because
Mm-hmm.
I just want to settle down. And to be honest, my okay, maybe they listen to it, but my landlords don't even know that I have the reptiles,
All
and we're
right.
moving in together with them. So I really
Okay.
want to get to know them first. They're pretty cool. They accepted also the cats, and I think they're chill, but I don't want to come in with like a huge greenhouse and
Yeah.
say, "Yeah, here I am, the crazy guy from Germany." And I brought him to Till because I know he takes good care of them.
Mhm.
But now it's like not even a week since I brought him there. Yes,
It's
I
tough,
was like,
right?
damn, that was the
Yeah.
first time ever, like since I started with the hobby, that I have no reptiles at home.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have now the cats, but that's not the reptiles. I
Yeah.
can't spray them down. I can feed them some insects, so
Yeah.
they love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
It
I
is.
guess we all know the same feeling. We're all
Yeah.
the same in this regard, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a tough discussion about morals and but yeah,
But I
what should
think it's a good one. I think if you don't have that, then it's when you stop improving or thinking
right.
about better. And indeed, it's never going to be good enough. There's always somebody who keeps them
Yeah.
bigger or in different way. But
Right.
but it is sometimes nice to ask yourself like, okay, am I still doing it correctly?
Yeah.
And if I'm okay, am I
Yeah.
okay with this?
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
so when we saw all the enclosures out there, I mean, there's just certain limits. Like basically, no one can do it like he does it.
Yeah, that's a unique situation, I think.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into his financials also, but he just bought it and he does it and he's just living for it,
Yeah.
and I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the opportunity and you have, I mean, it's cool that he has like this hobby with this financial,
Yeah, that's just awesome, right?
yeah, that's like the
Just
perfect
perfect.
combination, right?
Yeah, just perfect. And I really love his passion going in, but you really have to reflect that just basically no one can do it like that. So
Not even,
yeah,
yeah, not
animals
even
live
zoos.
yeah, the animals live a great life there.
Mm.
So we also went to his other facility where he got the very very huge crocodilians, and I mean the enclosures are even bigger.
Mm.
They also have some videos about it. I don't know the enclosure size, but the length, something between 50 to 100 meters, something in that range. It's insane.
It's
Yeah,
almost a
Insane.
football field.
yeah.
Yeah. It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
And he has this huge salty in it, saltwater crocodile. And we were able to feed them, my wife as well, and that's just some awesome memories we got there. And yeah, that was really cool. Really
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. Man, imagine also like with feeding and stuff, that's like crazy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
almost need like 48-hour day.
Yeah. It's insane. And they fought up some rabbits and with
Mm.
I mean some huge
Mm.
rabbits, and they just chopped it down like it's nothing, You could throw in a calf or something.
Mhm.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
different level as well.
Yeah. And so the salty was relaxing in the shallow part of the water, and then when we came in front of the enclosure, it just moved out of the water. And I mean, I'm working with crocodilians for I don't know, for some years now, and but in this moment you really think, oh wow, I'm glad I have this fence right in front of me. Because I mean, it's huge. The head
Mm.
was like this big, I mean, he also told me that this guy, he's pretty old, the Sorty, that he's known to have so he would be a man eater. So in Australia, they call the very huge ones, they call them man eater because they don't just eat on mammals, they see human as a prey as well. I mean, they don't really eat humans because there's like not zero, but not that many incidents happening, but they could, and they certainly would. And we saw that animal, and you really get some respect when you see that one. It's insane, really. And he also told us that if he grabs you, there's like no way you can do anything. He would just grab you and get you in the water, and then he would drown you. You couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's what I was fascinated about as well. By the way, so they have in the very big enclosures, the water part is 4 meters deep. That was insane.
So they can really like disappear into.
Yeah, this huge crocodile disappears. And so he has feeding platforms in all of these enclosures, and we went onto one, and he was gone. And then Kyle lured him with the rabbit, and then he slowly appears coming up from the water. It was insane. It was like in the movies, you know. It was so cool. And then he jumps. I mean, 4 meter deep water. They can't really put the tail on the bottom to just jump out, like skyrocket out like McCubans do. But he jumps out, and it's still like 1.5, maybe 2 meters high. It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Imagine all the turtles you could keep there.
That's a cool thing. He does that as well.
Yeah. It's insane.
He has a video as well. Like right beside the huge enclosures, he has 2 of the crocodile greenhouses. He has 2 of them right beside each other, just for turtles. Not just for turtles. I mean, turtles are beautiful.
Thank you. Turtles are cool too.
Rocking like a new backpack next time.
Turtles
are cool.
Oh man, yeah, they had some very nice animals down there. Also some albino alligators, and so with that, he also said, well, they do better in captivity, like in an indoor enclosure, because they burn under natural sunlight. So he had to get some shades that erase like half of the sun rays. And still, you could see some slight sunburn on it, some red parts. But I mean, they're not really meant to survive in the wild. But yeah, it's cool that they can live down there.
Yeah, that's true. Crazy. Yeah, it must be crazy to see like a big quote marks man-eater crocodile like close up, because like when you don't have a chance to be like really close to them.
Yeah, and so it's one thing seeing it on a video, but it's a whole other story standing right in front of it. You can like almost feel like when they're moving, like this whole body mass. I mean, the weight is incredible. You can almost feel how they walk beside you. It's just long and big animal. So cool.
Yeah, dinosaurs. I can remember when I was in Australia with my girlfriend, we did like the classic tour with the boat, and man,
awesome.
There was like a 3-meter croc, and it's like insane. When you see it like in a zoo, it's like, it's big, but when you see it in nature, it's completely different. And also, the animals just know he can fuck you up. There's like the top end predator, and that's something it's really fascinating with the big animals. I feel like they have that they know what they can do, for sure. And like a few months ago, I saw this video. I mean, it's cruel, but there was a guy in Africa who was there was a Nile crocodile under a bridge and came up with a half deceased man.
Yeah, I saw
And
that as well. Yeah.
yeah, on the one hand, it's like, oh fuck, it's hard to watch, but on the other hand, it's like when you think about it, it's also badass because that's how the animals
Yeah.
are not. We are not always on top.
No.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And many years past, it was like that, surviving with the animals, and
Yeah.
it's so bizarre when you see it. I mean, it's not cool, but it's it's like
It's interesting. You
It's
see the
fascinating.
difference, but you see how tiny you actually
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
compared to such animal. Just like there's also this video of this, like you see this big dead croc, and then all of a sudden you see the croc that
Yeah.
holds it
Yeah.
appear. You're
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Love the
interesting.
video because the dead croc looks pretty big as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge one in the background. That's such a cool video. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always like, I think as a human being, you don't have like the feeling oftentimes that we are like weak. And when you see something like that, it's like, okay, that's crazy. Or even like, yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. And speaking about the differences, I brought some thoughts to home as well. I really realized that sometimes we Europeans we tend to overthink stuff, and they over there they just do it and they just go for it. I mean, you can apply that to all types of topics, but I mean, talking about animal husbandry, so they keep Chinese alligators. They just keep them outside under the Florida climate, and I mean, it's warm as hell, and it's warm the whole year round. They don't see any snow or stuff like that. So we in Europe, we have such, and they reproduce them every year. Every year. He even had them in the greenhouse where it's even warmer, and he reproduced them there. And in Europe, we have a hard time with that. And we are thinking about, well, how can we cool them down? What can we do? Blah, blah, blah. And they are like, well, just do it. And she keeps them out there, and it just works. Also with the venomous, they have like a big room. They just have an AC in it, and I tested that as well some time ago in my apartment, like with an AC to cool it down a bit. Like all my animals got a respiratory infection, and like especially Epheris, they are very known to get that fast. So he has this room. You come from outside where it's like 35 degrees, you get cooled down to like 20. It just works. I don't know. It's like,
Crazy.
it's crazy.
Do you think it's because of the high humidity as well? Because like,
yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Also with the Chinese alligators, there must be something else. So it's also a theory in highland vipers that the atmospheric pressure might be a thing as well.
Yeah.
That hinders us to breed them consistently. I don't know. But it must be something, yeah.
Some people say that's for the Boland's pythons also.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, they are living up on the mountains at like, I don't know, 2,000 meters height. And of course, you have a different pressure there, So
it's interesting, man, because I do feel when we talk about the differences between America and or it's always America, but we got to this because we got asked that question, and that's why we started to explore it. I almost want to say, but I one of the things I do say is like we are all pretty serious about this. And I like what you say, like they just do it, if it works. And we are like tweaking, and also with me, everything has to be. Oh, what if I do everyone from Hong Kong? It's just...
It really is, yeah. And you can apply it on all topics.
Yeah,
they don't do that many regulations out there. not even close. And they just do it, and it all works. I mean, they have some cons over there, but yeah. I think much of it is also like you always see the negative things in the media. So
Yeah, for sure.
We had a great time over there, and I really saw, they're living the dream. We visited some other guys, also like locals, and they showed us around. Like every other guy has a gator in his backyard, and it's just so cool. So cool.
So stereotypical Florida man.
Yeah, that's a typical Google search, Florida man, and then just see what it adds.
Yeah.
Story I can tell is, so he lives in a nice community, and let's put it this way. And one of his neighbors has a private zoo just for himself. I mean, he's very wealthy, obviously. And so Kai mentioned that, so when you wake up in the morning and you go outside, you hear the lions roar.
Yeah.
I mean, hell yeah, right?
Miracle.
Yeah. That's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's another world out there.
Yeah, it's crazy too. The first apartment that my girlfriend and I moved into, it was like 300-400 meters away from the zoo. And when the wind was right, you could hear the lions in the morning. And it's crazy because in Stuttgart we also have like a big colony of parrots flying.
Okay.
The Amazon parrots.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I think there's like over 100 now because in the wintertime they go in the parking lots.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. And not like the small parakeets.
Not cool at all, but
no, but it is. It is. And then sometimes in the summer morning, on the one hand there was a tree, and you have parrots in there. From the other side, there was a line, and we was like, man. Cool. I'm in the middle of Stuttgart, and I feel like I'm in the jungle.
Yeah, that's cool.
Amazing. Yeah,
but that's the problem they have over there, because Florida is just this place on earth where everything can live, and that's a huge problem for them. They have 2 colonies of monkeys living in the Everglades because they just, some guy, I don't know, didn't pay attention. They ran loose, and this was 20-30 years ago, and now it's established colonies of monkeys living there. There's rumors about hippos living there. It's insane. Yeah. And also, I mean, the situation with the Burmese pythons or the reticulated pythons, you know it as well. I mean, they just live there, and they need to hunt them because they, kill all the other native species.
Yeah. Yeah, but we always talk about the Burmese pythons, but I believe there's like a few hundred fish species that are invasive in their waters.
Yeah, fish. Yeah,
alone.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. You see, you also see chameleons out there, but hundreds of chameleons, snakes as well. Imagine someone letting loose a mamba. It would live.
Yeah.
Or an Asian cobra, even better. That would live.
Yeah.
Then I'm definitely moving down there.
You're gonna do the yoink videos.
The yoink, yeah. I love this guy.
Come on, Robin. Just tell us you released some Mayas to go back there in 10 years.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I mean, yeah, I would do quite well there.
Yeah. Nice. Do you guys know that was I'm asking myself this at a certain point introduced species for how long it has to be there, like the Burmese pythons, like in 200 years maybe they are still around. Is there like are they, even when they are 200 years there, are they still like not a native animal? Because like
they get another classification, but it's the same as raccoons, for example, in Germany.
Okay,
so they are counted as animals. They live here, but still they don't belong here. So My wife and I did a hunting license last year, and that's a big problem dealing with raccoons. And I mean, they have some different problems over there. And we drove from East Florida to West Florida, like just in a straight line, as you can imagine in America. And you see how big this count or this state is. It's insane. And there's no houses whatsoever. There's basically nothing. So you're driving straight through the Everglades, but as you can imagine, that's like the perfect habitat for everything. So imagine what kind of animals are living there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, right?
I think for animal lover, just to go there and see animals from all over the world is like kind of special.
Yeah,
one trip and you have the whole variety.
Yeah. You can see all your dream species in one day.
Yeah, I think we should make they should fence in Florida and see what happens in like 20 years.
Just let it go.
Let it loose and see who will survive.
New Jurassic World franchise.
Yeah, we visited Chandler as well.
Okay.
You guys know Chandler's Wildlife? So he's a YouTuber, right? And we went over to his place as well. And same story. A huge property, and seeing the passion and the effort he brought into that, it's insane. He has a lake. It's not a pond. It's basically a lake, and he has all those cool fishes in there. He has the Eurasian owl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he lets it fly straight the lake, and that's insane. We went into this house, and he said to us, "Well, beware the otter." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Then we opened up the door, and then a random otter ran ran in front of us. It was crazy. It's like a baby otter, and he keeps them and like his cat. It's the typical Florida man.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Crocodiles in the backyard, all that.
Crazy.
Okay, guys, we are running up onto 2 hours, so maybe it's smart to slowly wrap it up. Even though I really enjoyed this conversation.
Oh, me too. Thank you. It was such a great time.
Yeah, for real.
Do you have any closing questions, Flo or Robin?
I have the whole list is like
I'm good. I talked a lot. I hope it's okay, but I really enjoyed talking with you.
Perfect. Yeah, for real, it's perfect. Okay. Yeah. I think that's the best thing when you just let loose and you can really feel that you're passionate. And I think that's the coolest thing about the podcast, that when you let loose. Cool. Yeah. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah,
for sure. Enjoyed talking to fellow keepers. It's always a good time. Yeah.
That's fun, huh? That's why we do this.
Yeah.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, we get to talk to at least one interesting person a week. So that's
And it's also cool to get to know each other. I mean, we know each other from Instagram. Maybe we run into each other at the ham show, say hi.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
I mean,
it's always the same people, and that's so cool when you grow up in this sketchy community. I mean, it can be very sketchy sometimes, but you always see the same faces in ham, and you always meet new people, and then after a few years you have all these friends coming up. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's for
sure. That's cool. Yeah. I also really like what you said, Flo. It's fun that it's a show, you say hi and a little bit and what you're getting, but especially the story of you getting the Cubans and how that all fell together. That was really, really cool to hear. So I loved it.
I think it's also pretty cool that you found your niche.
For sure.
That's like, I'm really happy for you, because that's something in this hobby. It's really hard, and you have like 2 crazy cool species that you're into, or genus.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was very hard as well, because I mean, when you think about the bureaucracy in Germany, all the regulations, I had the authorities coming to check my place multiple times, and yeah, but I'm really glad it all worked out in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Good to hear. Yeah.
That's almost a perfect ending.
Okay. Where can we point people towards in case they are curious about what was the name of the Mindorensis?
Lailani.
Lailani, yeah. Or the other animals in your future project?
Yeah. So I mean, people can follow me on Instagram, and I always try to post stuff on there. So as I visited the States, I also thought about maybe opening up a YouTube account, but I don't know, I'm like more introvert than extrovert, and know about dealing with that kind of videos in front of the camera. But yeah, let's see.
Please, please do it.
You can stay behind the camera. You can just voice over.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't have to be like, hey everybody. You can
you don't have to be like Stefan.
No, don't be like me.
I really enjoy your videos, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
Awesome. Yeah,
that's good to hear. I'm hoping to become even better, to become the Chandler Wildlife of.
Oh yeah. You have to get a bit more crazy though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm probably too boring for that.
The bunny last week was like special, right? That was your type of otter running around.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much, Robin. Flo,
thank you.
For people who want to
to follow us, no, it's fine. I need to do now our Instagram and stuff like that. To make sure people are following and stuff like that. So
I see.
Please like and subscribe on the channel. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and follow us on Instagram at European Herpetoculture Podcast. And just reach out if you have questions. We are always happy to hear feedback. We are pretty open to that. Yeah. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we wish you a nice day, peoples. Peace out.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Robin. Bye.